because there is a sign there. This is a site referred to in Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, which describes an encounter between a forestry worker out walking and what appeared to him as an unidentified flying object. Top secret. On the morning of November the 9th, 79, a very unusual incident occurred in the woodlands of Decment Law, an incident so unusual some would argue impossible that even after 30 years it still remains one of the most important UFO encounters in the world. Got to remember this was written in 2010, 2011. So Robert Taylor was conducting a routine woodland inspection, amazed to encounter an unearthly object. Large metallic circular spear spanned 20 feet. Intrigued, Taylor began to approach the spear, but as he did, two smaller spears dropped from the main spear and started rolling towards him. With his dog now barking furiously, the two smaller spears grabbed both of Robert's legs and began dragging him towards the larger sphere. As this happened, Robert recalls smelling an acrid smell and hearing a distinct hissing sound before losing consciousness. Very, very peculiar. And, you know, these are big trees now. Probably very different from 1979, but I'm sure there was trees here. Yeah, very, very strange encounter. Decment Law, or Decment Woods, a strange story of Robert Taylor and his encounter with a UFO. Moved from Decamount Woods in Livingston, which is about 10 miles west of Edinburgh, we're now heading just south of Edinburgh, and we're coming up to a place called Bonnyrig, as opposed to Bonnybridge where we were recently. As well as Bonnyrig, there's also another little village called Gorebridge, and this really is a hive of activity for UFO hunters. And the first place we're going to visit there is a place called Dalhousie Castle, which was subject to an incident years ago, which when we go there I'll tell you a wee bit more about it. Coming up to the area in question, this is just outside a place called Dalhousie Castle, and it's been known as the Dalhousie abduction. Here in 2007, a woman sat at these traffic lights, an engine cut out, lights in the car cut out. She got out the car, it was a dark night. She noticed the leaves in the trees falling and the trees swaying, but there was no appreciable wind. Over leaf there was a dark object. Behind her a young man pulled up, and the same thing happened to him. His vehicle cut out and he looked up. He also saw the object and described it as a large unidentified black object with tennis ball lights shining down on the road. It was away in a minute, it whisked off again, not to be seen. Engines in the car came on again, lights in the car came on again. Both were pretty shaken, so they decided, it turns out they worked in the same industrial estate further up here, and they decided what they'd do, they'd meet at the industrial estate and have a discussion about what had just happened to them. When the guy arrived, when the gentleman arrived, lady didn't arrive straight behind him. She was about 15 or 20 minutes later, and she could not explain why there was a delay in her arriving at the industrial estate. So the question was she abducted, or is there any other clear explanation as to why she disappeared for 15 to 20 minutes? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Dalhousie abduction. To second site I want to show you today, which is a place called the Blinkbonny mine. It's a former coal mine which is now disused, and that certainly is the area of quite a number of incidents up there. So we'll head up there now, okay? And heading down now to Blinkbonny mine. We're here at a place called Blinkbonny mine, which was a former coal mine, as all this area was. It's very well known for being a coal mining community. But it's here, this place here is known as the camp, which is supposedly the place where the aliens hang out here, or the Greys as they're called, men in black. It's purported that there's some form of portal here. There's been various strange sightings of objects in the sky. There's been cattle mutilations which can't be explained. It's been seen cattle being taken up into an object in the sky. There's been lights in the camp. Years ago, people who were cutting down trees here for their Christmas were chased by a luminous green object. So there's a lot of history of things happening in this area. So this supposedly is the camp. There's some form of gateway here to allow the aliens to come here, apparently. As I said, it used to be the old Blinkbonny mine. It's now a Scottish Water depot. There's a gentleman called Andrew Hennessy who has a YouTube page. You should look it up. He is a ufologist, among other things, and he has a lot of stories about this particular area, people meeting what they term the Greys or men in black, seeing various different things. In the camp behind me, lights seen at night. So an awful lot happening in this area. And Andrew Hennessy points to a story, a chap here called John Jackie Gillis, out walking here, came across an alien. No, I don't know what interaction they had. I've met a couple of people here. First guy stopped in his car and complimented me about the Harley. And I met another man walking his dog, and he was pretty friendly as well. So either they're humans or they're aliens that good at looking like and behaving like humans. So, but I certainly haven't seen anything here today which would make me believe there's any camp here. Let's head over now to a place called Crichton Castle in Gorebridge, which is an old abandoned castle, but it does have some connections with ufology. So let's head over there now. And I believe that over there is Crichton Castle, and that's where we're going to visit next. Yeah, looks good. So, anyway, heading on over there. So here we are at Crichton Castle. Welcome to Crichton Castle. Standing sentinel over the Tyne Valley, the imposing remains of Crichton Castle holds the stories of an eventful past. The castle rises on the steep of the green vale of Tyne, and far beneath, where slow the creep from pool to eddy dark and deep, where alders moist and willows weep, you hear their streams repine, extracted from the Marmion by Sir Walter Scott. So, built in 1400, Crichton College Gate Church is founded, which is just behind me. I'm among illustrious visitors. Mary Queen of Scots attends the wedding of her half-brother, Lord John Stuart, to Janet IV, Earl of Boswell. So there we are. So the tower house is the oldest part of the castle, including a grim prison. Courtyard, 5th Earl of Boswell's fashionable facade, was influenced by the travels in Italy. Scale and plat staircase, thought to be the first of its kind in Scotland. Until this time, staircases were built in a spiral shape. To get to the castle, walk about 600 metres rough track. Stout footwear is recommended. Please note there are no toilets available in the castle. So, I don't think, again, due to the COVID restrictions, that this is open as such, but I think we can go over and we can have a closer look at the place. I think that's where I took the shot from the castle, where I stopped from the motorbike, just on that road there. So, there she is. So why Crichton Castle, do you ask? Why an old ancient monument, anything to do with UFOs? Well, apparently this area is a hive of activity for UFOologists and UFOs with, as I said earlier on, cattle has been seen to be mutilated here and uplifted into alien objects in the sky. supposedly. There is supposed to be a cavern system linking Gorebridge here with Roslin. Yes, the famous Roslin Chapel, as made famous by the Da Vinci Code and Tom Hanks. So, somewhere underneath my feet, apparently, there is a cavern system whereby there are many, many aliens running about or walking about, and obviously transversing beneath our feet. Okay, we're going to head a wee bit further south, heading towards the borders, and we're heading towards a place called Tarbrax. And there's a final story I would like to recount to you about an incident that happened there. It was in this particular road here in 1992, August in fact, Gary Wood and Gary Wright. According to them, they were intercepted by an alien spacecraft, taken on board, communicated to by aliens and examined. They only recalled this through hypnotic regression, where they recalled that, because they had no idea what had happened to them in the intervening 2 hours. So it was only through this hypnotic regression that they were able to recall that they'd been taken on board the spacecraft. It's a very, very quiet road. Since I've been here, only 3 cars have passed me. Even the A70, which I came off, which is the main road between Edinburgh and Lanark, that was quiet, and this is exceptionally quiet. I suppose even in winter it would be, well, August. I suppose even in August it would have been sort of pretty quiet. So, there we go. Do you believe or don't you believe? Are you a believer or are you not a believer? We've come to the end of our Falkirk Triangle journey, and it's been a bit of fun. Not, you know, is there something up there? Who knows? With the advent of all these camera phones and everyone having GoPros and things like that, you would think it would be, you know, it would be beyond any doubt by now that if there was some form of alien life visiting our planet, we would know by now. And yet, despite us having all these mobile phones, GoPro cameras, etc., we've never had that final piece of evidence that aliens do exist and have been here. We've seen things flying in the sky, which I'm sure a lot of that could be accounted for. But equally so, nobody's really seen an alien craft at a short distance away or been able to photograph it. And you've got to ask, sort of, why is that the case? I'm not making a judgment here today. Leave that up to you. Well, I'm going to leave the final decision up to you. Is there or is there not alien life on this planet? I'm not so sure, but however, maybe I'll be proved wrong someday. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's not been too serious, but I did it for a point, and it's certainly been educational from my point of view. So join me and subscribe below if you're interested in seeing more videos of the channel. I've already done the Harp 200. And I hope to do a trip to Skye in the next few weeks as well, so I'll keep you abreast of what's happening there. For the moment, enjoy yourself and keep an eye on the skies up there, okay?